joined by Gary from the British Historic Kart Club. Gary, some amazing bits of kit around us. We're going to start with this one, the number 15, the helmet synonymous with cars, but also more, with karting for those of us that really go back a few years.
Yeah, absolutely. So Senna, back in '79, founded by DAP, D'Angelo Perillo was driving this kart. This is a team kart. Certainly handled well. He went out, he thought he won the World Championship, but he actually finished second. He was devastated, and for all the stuff that he's done in motorsport, he's been F1 World Champion, as many know. His best result was second in the World Championships at karting. But what a machine, legend, will always be around, and a future name.
Exactly. I mean, slightly off topic, but on topic. My son's middle name is Ayrton. As I grew up, sort of watching Ayrton Senna battling with Nigel Mansell. We've got loads of karts in here. James is getting really into that one at the minute. But where do you want to take us next?
Yeah, no. Well, we'll have a look at various karts. Again, we've got another DAP to the right there. Again, that brand, really, really well known. 80s, 90s, great pieces of kit. Taking you back even earlier here. So, ITEL Karts.
The thing to note for me is the treatment here with the comfy seat.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think back in them days, they had something right. They was comfortable, big steering wheels, the finish of it comfortable, but sometimes the driving position with your knees kind of out here. You look at the modern karts, the knees are quite low down, everything's much lower. Back in the old days, the knees were, if you see them on track, which you'll see later on and tomorrow, the driving style of these is somewhat different to the modern day karts. So these are like what they call a ladder frame, basically a square kart, wheel on each corner, very, very simple and basic.
Yeah, early 60s for that, with the Comet engine on it.
Yeah.
We're going to go down here, and then I want to circle back to one just behind us once we've been down here, because it was one that James and I were looking at before, and I've got some questions about it. Yeah. So we'll stay around here at the moment.
Yeah, no problem. So we've got these are a little bit more modern, into the 90s. Bodywork started to arrive, 90s karts. These are a couple of TKM engines, which was a budget class from the 90s. Kept everyone on a level playing field. So Alan Turney was the guy behind TKM. Very good class, still proving very popular in modern karting as an entry level class.
Extreme on the calendar here this year.
Yes, exactly the same motors, but these are just the earlier versions. No clutches, no electric start, lift up and run.
That's it. The one that I wanted to speak to you about, guys, the one down here on the floor. Yeah. And the reason that this caught my interest here is obviously you've got the brake in the middle, and then what appears, and I'm probably going to be massively wrong, but what appears to be two accelerators, because you've got two cables. So I want to know about that.
Yeah. So this is like a car setup, throttle, brake in the middle, and a clutch. So this is a Gearbox kart, 125cc. Little flying machines. This one's got inboard, they have discs all round, so brakes front and rear. Phenomenal bit of kit. Full body for the long circuit, but nice to display on the track here at Shenington.
Well, that's the thing for me, obviously. I'm 40 years old. I've only really got into karting in my sort of like mid-30s, so I'm fairly new to it. But in terms of, picking bits out and, where the history of things have come from, the origins of karting here at Shenington, late 50s, early 60s as a circuit. These karts would have been what would have graced that circuit then. And then you were getting to them karts in the early 90s. We've got karts in the corner that, just from looking at visually are bigger than what we were. Your favourite in here before we sort of head out and start have a look at some others?
There's not one favourite. They're just all pieces of history, and you can't beat history. What we've got here was what we've got out there now. These were the makings of what we've got out there now.
And as a club, tell us a little bit about that, because obviously as karting keeps progressing, karts that we'd have seen 10 years ago will eventually become historic. It's part of the process and the timeline. Tell us a little bit about how it started and where we are now.
Yeah, so just after 2000, a few guys got together, 6 or 7 people had the early karts. They thought, we need to get out and have a drive of them, and that's what they started doing. They all got together, and now that the club, we've got sort of like 8,000 Facebook members, And as a club, we've got 280 members, you know, which sort of like fluctuates up and down. You know, Shenington's always a good turnout for us because it's a great event. There's a lot going on, and it's in the heart of the country, very central, and the facilities are awesome here.
Right. I was going to go straight outside, but what I want to do is I want to go round these carts and I want to head towards your trophy table, and let's just have a quick look, because everybody likes a big trophy.
Oh, we like some.
I imagine that some of your drivers have already cleared a space on the mantelpiece already, hoping to take one of these home.
Yeah.
So what have we got?
So what we have, these are for the Concours karts, and we have, there's only one of these trophies for like a static Concours vehicle, but we like karts to be driven. That's what they were here for. So we have all these different trophies here for the different groups of karts that we have, and they're going round at the moment judging them, and they're marking it like, you know, how original it is, has it been restored, you know, that kind of era, and everything's got to be just right. You know, like any, if you go to a modern car show, they look at the Concours stuff, you know, everything's got to be just right. Good.
And a steering wheel as well that James is focusing in on at the moment for the Brendan Kill Memorial Trophy.
Well, that's our driver of the day, well, the driver of the weekend basically. So we, you know, obviously it's a demonstration, it's not a race, and sometimes you get people that, you know, they put on a little bit of a spectacle. You know, these early karts, they don't handle like the modern karts. They sort of like drift a little bit and slide. So we're judging people out there on the driving.
You see some of them sort of older videos, even like the Johnny Herbert stuff, where he's sort of turning into a corner probably 4 or 5 kart lengths earlier than what a modern kart would, and just sort of sliding towards the apex. Yeah. Big fan of the sort of more traditional trophy with the wooden base as well.
A lot of these trophies have actually been donated by manufacturers. You know, like, so we've got a Martin Hines trophy. You know, Martin Hines was the big zip man. We've got the Barlotti Jack Barlow trophy. These are trophies that have been donated by the manufacturers of karts from the eras gone by. So it's always, to be honest, it's always nice to get your name on one of these.
Well, we're going to head out. We'll head out that way. I think we were originally going the other way, but we'll go out this way. Yeah. The first one, I've actually with what I say a modern but central fuel tank on that one.
Yeah.
Which is sort of like well, every kart's got that now.
Yeah. Well, what happened was they did go to this like narrow waist for the handling. You know, that was the big change in karting, from a ladder frame to this narrow waist that he's zooming in on at the moment, to make the kart flex and handle much better.
And a halfway house on side pods as well.
Yeah, they started off at the early ones had little side pods, but manufacturers played around. You know, there's some karts with the modern side pods, but just with the chrome bar, you know, without the plastics on.
Now, I know you were saying that they don't necessarily grip as well, but that's seen some grip. Definitely seen some grip. That has. The other one's seen even more grip on the other side over there. That's got quite a lot of pickup.
I'll show you that one before we go and look at the superkarts. But this is what they call a Class 2 kart. So they had a big following of twin engine karts. These were predominantly RAF people back in the day. Twin engine karts were very popular.
Well, you think RAF have still got a club now that run a twin engine pro kart, yeah. So this obviously the beginnings, the origins of that club.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, I mean, driving that with you know, look at the tyres. It'd be just, back in the day, it'd be just mega.
The fact that the rear's treaded and the front isn't, I imagine, isn't as it would have been run. Is that, I'm assuming we've got slicks and wets?
Yeah, I think back then, I mean, the biggest thing in karting in modern days is they put a new set of tyres on every meeting. Back in the day, these tyres would do a full year.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? You know, now in terms of finding cost-efficient classes, and you know, this is what cost-efficient racing was. Hence why, when the first meeting here at Shenington, there was 3,000-4,000 people watching it.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the competitiveness of these karts and the handling and everything like that. But back then, you'd put a set of tyres on at the beginning of the year. They'd still be on at the end of the year. Very hard tyres, you know, lots of driving skills required. Anyway, let's take you to see some of the superkarts that we have on display.
Yes. So special, in fact, we've had to chain them off. So
some very interesting karts here. I'll let him have a look at it. Tim Parrott's kart. So Tim Parrott, world champion, 2 years on the row. this was his kart back in the day, sponsored by Kodak. You know, Tim's still involved in karting. He's probably here somewhere today. Great guy, and he does a lot for karting, but that was his kart back in the day.
So the one to the side of it, I'm guessing is almost identical, with the exception that that one's got bodywork on it.
Yeah. This one would have had bodywork on. It's just not on there at the moment. This is raced currently in an historic kart series that a championship is run at the moment, Retro Kart Championship. So that is a kart that would be used currently for racing.
As well, you know, you look at karting now, the floor tray is fairly minimal. It goes to the front of the seat.
Yeah.
Now, this has got a complete floor tray all the way under the seat as well, whereas now they're trying to get the seat low. The fact that when they're going over curbs, they're actually skimming the curb with the seat.
Yeah, they've got flat bottom seats nowadays, aren't they? There was none of that kind of stuff, you know, back in the day with this era. And this is quite an interesting kart. Another name from back in the day, Leonard Bowling. So you can see this is a really weird arrangement. Normally the engine's on the right hand side or left hand side. This one, if you zoom in on the rear of the engine, it's in the centre. Really, really strange setup, but what a piece of work.
So in terms of either it being to the side of the driver, which obviously means then the driver is slightly offset to one side to sort of counteract that weight distribution, having the engine behind, which is, you know, a bit up now, these are supercarts, but supercars always have the engine at the back. How does that fare compared to it at the side in terms of performance?
Yeah, well, to be honest, it's a lot longer, and if you look where the driver is compared to the front wheels, you know, if you look there at that angle, the front wheel's pretty much level. If you look at a normal supercar, the wheels are much further forward. It's a lot longer on the front end. You know, a few people did try these supercars back in the day, but like I said, this one is quite special because Leonard Bowling, he won a lot of stuff, and they were playing around with various different types of arrangements. This was just probably one of them.
Good.
So yeah,
two more to this side, going back a little bit further.
Yeah. Again, early supercar, Yamaha engine, you know, twin, similar to like what they have in the RD road bike. Again, early supercar days for that type of chassis.
So twin exhaust on it though, because we've got
twin cylinder.
Yeah,
twin cylinder. So 5 or 6 speed gearboxes. Lovely piece of kit. You can see the forward brakes on these, and you can see the pedals. A little bit like driving your car. We've got the 3 pedals, brake in the middle like a conventional car, and you've got your throttle and clutch. Good. So we do see a lot of karts, early karts, 3 pedal. A lot of the UK stuff was very much predominantly 3 pedal karts.
The way it goes, every kart seems to be different. Whereas now, obviously, there's you know, there is different manufacturers, but everything seems to look very uniform at the moment. As do most series, you know, from F1 down, everything looks very similar. Whereas if we just panning the camera on the 6 karts that we can see here, every single one of them's got something different about them.
That is one of the things with historic karting that makes it stand out. You know, the modern stuff, it's a little bit like cars. You know, if we put an aerodynamic program into a shape of a car, the cars are all going to look very similar. And I think that's what we've got in karting now. It works what they've got. You know, the old Tony karts, they just work. And all manufacturers are following each other. Back in the day with these, people they were trying different things. They'd have a go at doing something a little bit different. Yeah,
years of development we can literally see in a timeline in front of us.
It's a little bit like, I mean, can you imagine turning up, you know, one of these meetings with an X30 behind the seat? It's unheard of, you know, but back then people would try all these radical ideas.
Got to try it to find out if it works.
Absolutely. It doesn't always work, but sometimes you get away with it.
Good.
But yeah.
Wonderful. Gary, thank you very much for taking me and all of our viewers a trip through history with the British Historic Kart Club.
Oh, brilliant. And thanks to the Alpha T for being here and videoing. I think you do a great job for karting. You know, without you people, it's brilliant. Gary, you do a great job.
Thank you very much.
Keep up the good work.